Well, good morning. Thank you all for joining us today to celebrate the extraordinary service and countless sacrifices of our nation's veterans, and to also help dedicate this remarkable tribute to those very, very special men and women, past, present, and future. And of course, this celebration is actually much broader, for it is simply not possible to honor veterans and not also celebrate America, her enduring ideals, and the incredible blessings of liberty that we all so enjoy here in America. And whereas words could never account fully for the whole measure of these veterans' commitment to and sacrifices for our great nation, its widely diverse citizenry, and freedom-loving people around the world, it is always fitting and proper to take time and remember those who have served as members of our United States Army, United States Marine Corps, United States Navy, United States Air Force, and United States Coast Guard, and all other affiliated service organizations charged with defending our freedoms both here at home and abroad. So thank you again for coming today and sharing in this special tribute. Would you now all please stand for a musical salute to the flag, followed by the invocation offered by Chaplain Richard Black, Captain, United States Navy, retired. Bandmaster, to the colors.
Let us bow in prayer. Almighty and eternal God, we are grateful for this auspicious morning, which provides for us a marvelous opportunity to join together in the university's dedication to our veterans' commemorative site and monument, emblematic of our veterans' courageous, selfless, and ongoing contributions to our nation's defense and protection. May it stand as a lasting tribute to the service, sacrifice, and honor of its military branches of our great nation. As it stands surrounded amidst these veterans of past and present conflicts, in behalf of those preparing to serve, and among those who have stood steadfastly on the home front, may this monument honor all. In future years, may our returning alumni find a special pride in all that we do today, and see a hallowed remembrance of sacrificial service to our nation and to our God. God bless this nation and protect all who selflessly serve her. And may this commemorative site stand ever as an inspiration to us today and to all who shall view it in future years. For it is in your holy name that this prayer is made. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Black. Please be seated. It is with great pride that I welcome to the podium a man who truly needs no introduction. This giant of a leader has been at the helm of our university for the past 19 years. And he has skillfully guided its growth from modest beginnings to recognition as one of the nation's finest institutions of higher education. A renowned scholar, a visionary strategist, an inspiring team builder, and a courageous leader, he is not only the face of UCF, he is the driving force behind an exciting, growing, and highly respected university, wisely positioned for ever-increasing greatness in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, won't you please help me in a warm welcome to our president, Dr. John Hitt.
Well, thank you, Admiral Harms. I appreciate that kind introduction, and thanks all of you for being here today. for the dedication of a commemorative site honoring the courage, service, and sacrifice of the men and women of our armed forces. Thank you for attending this morning. It is very important that we honor the exceptional men and women who've served our country. At UCF, we honor them every day through the outstanding support services we offer our approximately 1,100 student veterans, a number that is growing each year. UCF has become one of the nation's most veteran-friendly universities thanks to the hard work of our dedicated staff members and faculty members. Because we've done so much to support our student veterans, UCF was recognized early this month by the United States Department of Education as a National Center of Excellence for Veteran Student Success. Only, I think, 15 institutions across the country made this list, which honors trailblazers who set new national standards for veteran student achievement. This award comes with a 3-year, $339,000 grant that will support our new Veterans Academic Resource Center located in Knights Plaza across from Barnes & Noble. The 3,400 square foot center will become part of a single point of contact for student veterans, and it will feature services such as enrollment support, financial aid, academic advising, counseling, and career information. Helping our veterans receive the best health care is also a priority at the Medical City at Lake Nona, where our College of Medicine is aggressively pursuing partnerships with the new Veterans Administration Hospital. The quality of our... Those efforts are worth the applause, folks. The quality of our veterans services helped UCF earn national recognition from GI Jobs magazine for the second consecutive year. GI Jobs named UCF among the top 15% of universities, community college, and proprietary institutions and trade schools in the country that serve student veterans. Finally, one of the core values of the UCF Creed is excellence, which the Creed charges us to strive toward the highest standards of performance. As we dedicate this commemorative site today, I pledge that providing excellent service and support to student veterans will continue to be a priority for our university. God bless you all.
Thank you, President Hitt. I'm now very pleased to introduce our next speaker, a leader who has also given unwavering support to our veterans and the University of Central Florida throughout his distinguished career. A veteran himself, he served in the United States Navy for 4 years as a hospital corpsman. He served at the U.S. Naval Training Center Hospital in Great Lakes and also at the U.S. Naval Hospital here in Orlando, where he assisted in eye, ear, nose, and throat surgeries. Following his naval service, he was a highly successful student right here at the University of Central Florida, where in addition to his academic studies, he served as student body president. Later, he earned a master's degree from the University of Central Florida. He's a proud recipient of the UCF Distinguished Alumnus Award, and he is a charter member and current chair of the University of Central Florida Board of Trustees. He currently serves as president of Nob Hill Group, a private development and a strategic investing company. And prior to establishing that group, he served as senior vice president for corporate affairs of Darden Restaurants Incorporated. And he was a key member of the leadership team that took Darden public in 1995. In summary, this man is a highly accomplished and heavily involved alumnus, an outstanding community leader, and he possesses unparalleled passion for and devotion to UCF and our nation's veterans. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Rick Walsh.
Well, good morning, everyone. Let me add my welcome to all of the special guests that we have here today. I want to thank you for taking time out of very busy schedules to be with us this morning. I'd like to share with you someone else's thoughts about a day similar to this a few years back during another dedication. He said, "In great deeds, something abides. On great fields, something stays. Forms change and pass, bodies disappear, but spirits linger to consecrate ground for the vision place of the soul. And reverent men and women from afar and generations that know us not and that we know not of shall come here to ponder and to dream and the power of the vision shall pass into their souls. That was one of America's true citizen soldiers, Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, a hero of Gettysburg, speaking about that special place on that day. And I think it's a powerful reminder for all of us today. We have busy lives. We rush about them as fast as we can. And it's easy sometimes to forget the sacrifices that many have made for our country. So we need to pause in days like today and places like this and reflect on what this monument means. My former colleague and now fellow Darden retiree and now business partner and friend and UCF alum is a fellow by the name of Blaine Sweat. I wouldn't expect you to know his name, but I believe that you know his work, and I want you to know him a little better in the role he plays here today. In 1968, Blaine was in Vietnam serving the 5th Mechanized Infantry near the DMZ at a place called Cantillon. And by the way, he would be quick to tell you he didn't remember it as being very mechanized, all the walking they made him do. He had led his company on several maneuvers and had engaged the enemy on numerous occasions. And after being in country for about 4 months, he was wounded in an RPG ambush and medevaced out a month later. He was lucky, and when he came home, he was quick to say, thanks to his partners, his wife, his parents, the GI Bill, UCF, and the training he received in the military, he went on to create Olive Garden, Bahama Breeze, Seasons 52, Smoky Bones, and a few others. Pretty good day's work. The value created by those enterprises has employed millions of people over so many years and probably helped pay a lot of tuition and probably bought hospital bills, a lot of other things. And if you think of the impact that effort has had on so many, it's because he was one of the ones that came back. We worked very closely together for over a quarter of a century to help build Darden restaurants, yet it wasn't until after we retired and began doing all the fun things that retired people do that we discovered we'd both been in the military about the same time. He was in the Army, I was in the Navy. We both had been in military hospitals. I was a corpsman, he was a patient. I got the better end of that deal. And we both credited our military service with helping define our values and character. But we hadn't ever discussed it in the 25 years that we had worked together. And I suspect that that's very true with many of you here today and about many veterans around the world. You just don't really talk about it. He's someone who almost gave the ultimate sacrifice, but lived and had, and I think, a lasting impact on so many people over so many years. And he attributes much of his success over the years to the military and to this university. I consider him to be what I believe America's all about. Dedicated individuals who love their country, who go about doing what they have to do with a perfect and simple dignity. And I suspect there are a lot of stories like that here today. I hope we're able to capture some of them. For each of the men and women who serve their country, defending it from all enemies, domestic and foreign, today is about those people, and today is their day. Blaine and I became very enthusiastic supporters of this project the moment Admiral Harms proposed it. We're proud to be part of it because of all of you here today and for those who couldn't be here. We hope it will be a special place on our campus, and over the years when you're standing on this ground, I would ask that you remember with respect and reverence Normandy and Iwo Jima and Cantillon and Baghdad and Kuwait City, Anbar, Gettysburg, and others, and pause for just a moment to remember those who are not here and the price that they paid so we could be. Then I would ask you to do one more thing before you move on and get on with the busyness of your life. Quietly, simply, and sincerely, just say thank you. Thank you to so many who gave so much, and then go out, like Private Ryan said, and earn it every day. Al, thank you for your leadership on this project and your determination to get us here this morning. Thank all of you for being here. It's a privilege and an honor to be here today.
Thank you, Chairman Walsh. I'm also very pleased this morning to introduce our next speaker, another proud and distinguished veteran, a highly successful educational entrepreneur and businessman, and an extremely effective citizen leader whose passion, focus, and steadfast commitment to veterans are second to none. Just a few years back, he proudly served in the United States Army as a member of the 101st Airborne Division, and he is well known for his screaming eagle spirit that he brings to every endeavor he undertakes. Highly active in Veterans Affairs throughout Central Florida and on a national level, he played a pivotal role in getting this project started over 1 year ago, and he has continued his strong support over the last year through the development and construction timeline. A dedicated patriot, a strong and devoted community leader, and a great friend of the University of Central Florida, please join me in welcoming Dr. Neil Iuliano to the stand.
Thank you, Admiral, and Chairman Walsh, thank you, and President Hitt, thank you. I'm going to give you guys a promotion from one of the nation's great universities to a world-class university. Thank you for this commemorative site that you are dedicating today that honors all veterans. It is indeed my pleasure to speak for some of those veterans here in Central Florida, and there are many veterans in Central Florida. Central Florida is the #1 destination of combat troops in America. They would rather be here than anywhere else. It's the #1 destination for veterans over the age of 60. It's the #1 destination for veterans with a disability. And it's the #2 destination, second only to California, of all veterans. So Central Florida is home to almost 400,000 veterans that wore the uniform of the United States of America. I want to spend just a couple of minutes talking about a few of those veterans, realizing that there are similar stories in this crowd and throughout the 9 counties of Central Florida. This first individual spent almost 28 years in the service of the United States Navy. His career actually started as an ensign, second lieutenant ensign, at the college where he was undergoing his training. He was training to be a chaplain. And chaplains are non-combatants, as you know, and as such are not allowed to carry weapons. But they are desperately needed in areas of combat. This Navy chaplain also served as a Coast Guard chaplain, as a United States Marine Corps chaplain. And as such, he was stationed in Vietnam with the United States 3rd Marine Division I Corps. And during the Tet Offensive, our chaplain was wounded in the performance of his duty. He, as such, received the Purple Heart, the Meritorious Service Medal, Combat Action Ribbon, the Bronze Star with the Combat V. He did 2 deployments with an aircraft carrier in the Gulf of Tonkin, and he was aboard for the all-service mission to free the prisoners at Hanoi. Let's meet again United States Navy Chaplain Richard Black. The next soldier was born right down the street off of University. You know where University? It leads to us right here. He was already a certified hero at the age of 10. He saved a woman from drowning. He was on the floor of the United States House of Representatives on December 8th, 1941, when President Roosevelt declared war on Japan after the sneak attack, taking us into the Second World War. In 1951, on the stage at the University of Florida, he received his degree from the president of that college. He walked across the stage, received his commission as a second lieutenant, and as he marched off the stage, his orders were to report to the Korean Peninsula as they were in war. He is a combat veteran of both the Korean War and the Vietnam War, and holder of almost 50 medals, awards, certifications, and acknowledgement. I want you to meet United States Brigadier General William Carlson. Our next person has been a resident of Orlando for 86 years. I think he came over with Christopher Columbus, but I'm not sure. He was with the 101st Airborne, the 506th Battalion, and on June 5th, he and many other young men were loaded onto C-47 transport planes, destination Normandy. It was the night before D-Day, and he parachuted into that peninsula, and when he left the plane, the wind blew his helmet off. The shock of the parachute opening, he lost his rifle. He's parachuting into enemy territory without a helmet and a rifle, and he hit the ground wounded. Shrapnel hit him twice on the way down. But he got up, found a weapon, fought for 5 days, and with 5 other Americans was captured. The Germans immediately shot 3 of the Americans, marched the 2 from France through Paris and into Germany, where he was held as a prisoner of war camp for 11 months until he escaped. Purple Heart with oak leaf clusters, Presidential Unit Citation, many, many, many others, knighted by the nation of France. Many movies made about that day. Please welcome Sergeant Bill Coleman. As you might suspect, Sergeant Coleman is one of the original Band of Brothers. Our next veteran grew up right on the St. Johns River, right out here on East Colonial. He's one of the original pre-astronauts, certified in 91 different types of aircraft, 484 combat missions over Vietnam, Purple Heart with oak leaf clusters, Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Air and Space Museum, a Silver Star with oak leaf clusters, a Bronze Star with a Combat V with oak leaf clusters. Oak leaf clusters means you got it more than once. Legion of Merit with 4 oak leaf clusters, Presidential Unit Citation, Distinguished Flying Cross 7 different times, Air Medal 23 different times, the Harmon International Trophy awarded by President Eisenhower, the Hall of Fame, the United States Air Force, the Hall of Fame, Florida Aviation, the Hall of Fame, National Aviation, the Wright Brothers Hall of Fame, the Italian Legion of Merit, the French Grand Medal, the Hall of Fame, the Skydiving Association. When he was shot down in Vietnam, he spent another 11 months as a prisoner of war at the Hanoi Hilton. Currently holds 6 world records, at one time held 9 world records. First solo flight across the Atlantic in a balloon, the highest parachute jump in history, and I am speaking about United States Air Force Colonel Joe Kittinger. Joe is not here today. He wanted to be here today. But 3 weeks ago, in the Adriatic Sea, a young balloonist fell into the water, and they were unable to save him and recover the balloon and his remains. They are doing a memorial for him in Albuquerque, New Mexico, as we speak today. And he wanted to be with us, and he sends his regrets. The last soldier I'll talk about today also had a Hollywood movie made out of him. In 1953, as the Korean conflict was drawing to an end, one of the last battles that took place was on a small outcrop called Hill 255. Hollywood called it the Pork Chop Hill. They starred a bunch of great people, Gregory Peck, George Peppard, Woody Strode. But as a young second lieutenant, he was given command of Company L, and they started up that hill with 175 soldiers. U.S. Army historian General Sam Marshall said of our soldier, "In times of great stress, rare character will rise above the others, and our second lieutenant was such a man." General Marshall went on to say his men trusted him completely, and for the embattled command post, his leadership gave them a last-minute reprieve from certain death as they fought to control Hill 255. As the Chinese communists swarmed over that hill, Lieutenant Denton and the 6 remaining Americans, mostly wounded, called for an artillery strike on their own positions, which subsequently drove the Chinese off. Denton was shot twice. He asked me not to mention his Purple Heart. I will not do that. Please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Earl Denton, United States Army. This commemorative edifice underlines the close relationship with the university and the thousands of veterans all over the Central Florida area. The UCF Medical School is going out down the road here in Lake Nona. In 2002, after struggling for 15 years, this small group of veterans that I just mentioned and myself were meeting at the Veterans Clinic with then Secretary of the VA, the Honorable Anthony Principi. I was asked to speak for this group, and the Secretary said, "The VA agrees that Central Florida needs a hospital. You get it moving, we'll make sure the money is there." President Bush and President Obama have kept their word. That facility will soon become a reality. The VA appointed 2 people to come down here, 2 engineers, to put this in place. They are here in the audience today, and with your permission, I want to introduce to you Director Tim Lazert and Associate Director Joe Battle of the VA. Could you stand, fellas? Just a little note that 4,800 veterans go to that clinic every day for medical help. Every day. There are 1,829 dedicated employees at that clinic to help them. When the new hospital comes online, they will open up 1,253 new jobs, and that enrollment from 90,000 veterans will go up to 113,000 veterans. And these 2 men were handpicked to handle that. They have just recently told me they are on schedule for completion of that hospital that will sit right next to the UCF Medical School. Let me say to the Board of Trustees that are here, thank you for what you're doing today. Let me say to President Hitt, thank you for your leadership. From the hundreds of thousands of men and women from all walks of life who served this great nation, thank you.
Okay, we're spotlighting veterans at this ceremony. But there isn't a single veteran here who didn't first serve on active duty. And what I'd like to do now is have all of our active duty members please stand and be recognized. And I'd like their family members also to stand. And would you join me in acknowledging their service today and their sacrifices on our behalf? Active duty, please stand. Thank you all for what you do. Thank you for strapping it on. Thank you for serving us every single day around the clock. Finally, I would like to have all of our honorees today, our veterans and their family members, please stand and be recognized. And I would ask that you would stand when you hear a very familiar tune. We will, in fact, play our service songs and parade precedents. Bandmaster, United States Army. United States Marine Corps. United States Navy. United States Air Force. United States Coast Guard. Thank you all very much. I know that was a lot of thank yous and recognitions, but I think it's important we understand that these things don't just happen. It takes an awful lot of people, and we are so delighted again that you are here with us today. Thank you so very, very much. So who again are we honoring today? Veterans of all ages and eras, of course. And I think personally that Catherine Lee Bates, a school teacher in the late 1800s, simply and eloquently captured the essence of these heroes and their incredible sacrifices unlike any other, as she penned one of our nation's most beloved songs, America the Beautiful. And in your program, you'll see that phrase, "O beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life." Think about that phrase, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. Each and every patriot that we honor here today has faced his or her own personal struggle. Sometimes those have been extraordinary struggles, Others have been everyday struggles. But each one of them has done that on their own, proudly serving their nation. That is the character of service. There is no need to try and tell their individual stories, for in most cases, if you didn't go through it, you just simply won't understand. And if you did go through it, you don't need to hear the words again. Anyway, like I'm saying, we don't have to tell all these individual stories, because if you were there, you know exactly what the story is. If you weren't there, we could talk about it from now till the sun goes down, and you just wouldn't fully get it. Furthermore, though, these heroes are part of a story that's far grander and far more compelling than any of their individual stories. For despite the bullets and the bombs and the fear and the cold and the chaos and the disillusionment and the overwhelming odds and ultimately sometimes death itself, none of these heroes shrank from their call to duty. They all gave of themselves for the good of others. That's the individual and that's the collective story here today, and it's one of the greatest stories ever told. Each of these veterans stood tall in their own way, came to the aid of their fellow soldier, Marine, sailor, airman, Coast Guardman, did what they need to do to, in fact, protect their country, defend our Constitution, and preserve fellow mankind. Each and every patriot here today, and for everyone who has ever served, understands the totality of the commitment in the oath of the service. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. So help me God. What an extraordinary commitment each and every veteran, each and every service member, and all the years past, today, and in the future, what an extraordinary promise and commitment they make to defend our Constitution. They don't commit to any individual, they don't commit to any political party, they don't commit to any religious, cultural, any sort of group whatsoever. They commit to work together to defend our Constitution and the ideals that she stands for. What an extraordinary, extraordinary piece of work. Each and every service member gives up a chunk of their life to serve others and ultimately to serve our great nation. The United States is an immense country. Our problems are complex. There's no doubt about that. But yet America is one of the few places where we have the right, and oh, by the way, I believe the obligation to get involved and try to make things better. Well, I promise you that the veterans that we honor today, they got that message, they understood it, and they have done it in a very, very substantive way. And without them, America will not remain the land of the free. It is because of the brave that we remain the land of the free. I don't know about you, but for me, that's an incredible inspiration, a great moral compass, and what a personal example of service and sacrifice each of these veterans have provided all of us. And they provide us, again, the magnificent blessings of liberty, of justice, of faith and hope, that shared by freedom-loving people all around the world. Today is a celebration. It's a time to celebrate veterans. It's a time to celebrate completion of this commemorative site. I would ask you, though, as we celebrate, not to forget that our nation is involved in a very difficult war. I truly hope that each of you finds time to pray for peace, to pray for those serving today, and again, to pray for those veterans who have given so much of themselves such that we can sit here on a beautiful morning and share the blessings of liberty. Today, tomorrow, and in the future, whenever you see our dear old flag waving, please remember that throughout our history, there have been times when some eyes grew dull, some hands grew slack, and some hands grew cold as our country faced shame, dishonor, and possibly defeat, but not so for our veterans. for well over 200 years, and still so today, those wearing the cloth of the nation committed in solemn trust to keep Old Glory well, and they would do so as long as there was light and life in their very souls. Freedom is not free. It takes dedicated men and women from every imaginable background and circumstance working together for our nation, defending our Constitution and the ideals that we all hold so dear. Time and time again, dedicated men and women have rallied to our flag and fought for their Constitution, their country, and their fellow citizens. And they've done it in wars that were popular, and they've done it in wars that were highly unpopular. Many of these patriots may not have fully understand why they were doing what they were doing, or perhaps they disagreed with what they were doing. But I'll tell you what, they never faltered. They stood shoulder to shoulder, and they did what the nation asked, again, to preserve our blessings of freedom and liberty. To some in today's world, these sentiments are misunderstood and appear to be misplaced because way too often some put self above everything else. Yet I think that when you look into the hearts of most Americans, they still love their country, they believe in their country, and they in fact want their country to remain strong and true. I would ask, therefore, that in addition to honoring veterans today and all who have unselfishly served our grand republic, I would truly hope that this commemorative site, both for you and anyone who visits it, in fact, is inspired. They are inspired to reflect on our national blessings. They are inspired to reflect on what's right and wrong. And most importantly, they reinforce the notion that every individual, you, me, each and every one of you, has an obligation to serve our nation in some capacity. That Constitution stages the framework for our country. It's up to the individual to grab hold of your part and do what you can to make America better every single day. How shameful it would be if we ever forget or diminish the sacrifices that we recognize and honor today. If we do not increase our own personal efforts, we run the risk of doing that. And again, I would ask all of you to every day think about, what am I doing for my country? Catherine Bates captured for the veterans, and we talked about that in that particular verse. I think, and you'll see this on the back page of your program, I think Gene Shears, in his song, American Anthem, I think he beautifully states a gold standard by which each and every one of us can measure our contribution. America, America, I gave my best to you. America, America, I gave my best to you. And I can tell you, if there's any doubt in any mind, these veterans that we honor today, they did give their best. And oh, by the way, they expect us to give our best. And you could never repay them in any grander style than doing your best to make sure that we continue to be the home of the free and the land of the brave. Thank you again for joining us today and sharing an opportunity to remember and honor all those who in fact have given us this privilege of living in America. Let us also be thankful that we've been blessed with such brave men and women who did choose to serve. Heroes of every size, shape, background, circumstance from every region of our country and beyond, who have shared a similar commitment, courage, and willingness to sacrifice on our behalf. It really is a miracle only in America. Just like those magnificent men and women who in fact have served in years past, just like those magnificent men and women who are serving today, let's all personally commit to continue to serve our great nation in the future. Let us make sure that America remains the beacon of hope, peace, and freedom that she leads the world today. May God bless each and every one of you, and may God always bless the United States of America. Will you now please rise and welcome Ms. Evelyn Tahn to the podium and our joint Army and Air Force ROTC Honor Guard as we christen this ceremony and commemorative site. This tribute will be followed by a short moment of remembrance a moment for remembering honor, duty, sacrifice, friends, and commitment, including our own personal commitment to our great nation and all of mankind. Honor Guard, raise the colors. Raise the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets from there, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Honor Guard, post. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's official dedication ceremony. We deeply appreciate you sharing this time of fellowship and dedication and celebration with us. And please know that you are always welcome back to our campus to either visit this site or attend the hundreds of other opportunities found all across this wonderful university and our beautiful campus. And again, God bless you all. God bless America. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. Thank you.